Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are diving into the world of AI image generation with Stable Diffusion 3.5. So get this. It's like having an AI artist that can create anything you can describe.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing. And this new version, Stable Diffusion 3.5, is making some serious waves. Not only is it powerful, but it's also incredibly easy to use.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. We're talking about creating photorealistic images or even 3D art, all from a text prompt.
Exactly. It really is something else.
So Stability AI just released this new version, and they dropped not one, not two, but three different versions. We've got large turbo, and medium.
Right. It's all about giving users the flexibility to choose the version that best suits their needs, and also their hardware, which is important.
I see. So it's kind of like picking the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
But in this case, the tool is like a super smart AI artist.
Exactly.
That's such a cool way to think about it.
Okay.
So let's break down each of these versions. Can you tell us a bit more about Stable Diffusion 3.5 Large? What makes it the quote-unquote professional choice?
So Stable Diffusion 3.5 Large, that one is the powerhouse. It's designed for people who really need the absolute best quality. Imagine for a second a brain with billions of neurons just firing away. That's essentially what Stable Diffusion 3.5 Large has. But instead of neurons, it has 8.1 billion parameters.
Whoa. Okay, so what do those parameters actually do?
Well, they basically allow Stable Diffusion to create these super intricate, high-quality images, and with a resolution of 1 megapixel.
Okay, so we're talking images that are so detailed you could print them out as posters.
Exactly.
That's insane. All right, let's move on to Stable Diffusion 3.5 Large Turbo. What makes it so turbo?
Speed. Large Turbo is all about generating those same incredible images, but doing it super fast. It cuts down the number of steps required to generate an image down to just 4.
Wow. That's a huge difference.
It is. Especially for anyone who needs inspiration quickly.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be useful, especially for creatives who are working on tight deadlines. Okay, so last but not least, tell us about Stable Diffusion 3.5 Medium. This sounds like the one that a lot of our listeners might be interested in.
You're probably right. Medium is really designed to be the sweet spot for most users. It can run smoothly on pretty much any standard computer, so you don't need a top-of-the-line machine to use it.
So you're saying that even if you don't have a supercomputer, you can still create amazing AI art.
Exactly. And it can still create some pretty stunning images up to 2 megapixels.
Wow. It's like having a professional AI art studio right on your desk, no matter what kind of computer you're working with.
Exactly.
One thing that really stands out to me about all three of these versions is the focus on customization and efficiency.
Oh, absolutely. Stable Diffusion 3.5 is incredibly flexible.
In what way?
Well, think about it like having a set of paints and brushes. You can blend them, experiment, and create any style you can imagine.
Okay, I like that analogy. So
Yeah.
you're not just using the AI, you're actually shaping it to fit your creative vision.
Exactly.
That's really powerful. Speaking of power, can you tell us more about the diversity and versatility of Stable Diffusion 3.5? Like, how does it handle different styles, subjects, aesthetics?
So one of the key strengths of Stable Diffusion 3.5 is the massive and diverse dataset that it was trained on. This data includes a vast array of images, styles, and subjects.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. You could ask it to generate anything from a photorealistic portrait to a surreal landscape, an anime-style illustration, or even something abstract.
Wow, that's really impressive. It's almost like having access to a global team of artists, each with their own unique skills and perspectives.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about generating visually appealing images. Stability AI has also been focusing on making sure that the outputs are diverse and inclusive. They represent people of different ethnicities, genders, and backgrounds.
I see. So they're making a conscious effort to avoid biases and make sure that Stable Diffusion 3.5 is a tool that everyone can use to express themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Now, this all sounds incredible, but I bet our listeners are wondering, how accessible is this technology really?
That's a great question.
Like, how easy is it for people to actually get their hands on these models and start creating?
So Stability AI is really breaking down barriers here. They're using a community license, which means that Stable Diffusion 3.5 is free for non-commercial use, research, and even commercial use for smaller businesses earning under $1 million annually.
So you're saying they're really democratizing access to this incredible technology. It's not just locked away in some tech giant's lab. Anyone can use it.
Exactly.
That's a game changer. Okay, so for those who are itching to get started, where can they access Stable Diffusion 3.5?
There are actually several platforms where you can find and use it, depending on your technical comfort level. You can find it on Hugging Face, Stability AI's own API, Replicate, decent for and comfy UI.
Okay, so no matter your technical skills, there's a way to jump in and start creating. This is really exciting stuff. But before everyone rushes off to become the next AI art sensation, let's talk about safety. What is Stability AI doing to ensure responsible use of these powerful tools?
That's a really important point. Stability AI actually takes the ethical implications of AI very seriously. They've built in safeguards to help prevent misuse, and they also have a whole stable safety initiative, which is dedicated to promoting responsible AI development and
Right.
use.
Okay, good to know. They've also implemented measures to help prevent the generation of inappropriate or harmful content.
Right.
That's really good to hear.
Mm.
It's important to remember that with any powerful tool, there's a responsibility to use it ethically and thoughtfully. Speaking of the future, what's on the horizon for Stable Diffusion? What can we expect to see down the road?
Well, the future's looking pretty exciting. Stability AI is already working on some fascinating new features. One of the most anticipated is something called control nets.
Control nets. That
Yeah.
sounds interesting. What are they and how will they change the game?
Basically, think of control nets as a way to give you, the user, even finer control over the image generation process. It's like having a director on set providing very specific instructions to the AI artist to guide the creative process.
Oh, wow. So if you thought Stable Diffusion 3.5 was impressive, just wait for what's coming next.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
This is really just the beginning of a whole new era of creativity powered by AI.
Absolutely.
I am so excited to see what people create with these tools.
Me too.
It's going to be amazing.
It is. It really is going to be incredible. I mean, can you imagine being able to say, like, I want the lighting to be like this and the
Yeah.
composition like that? The AI just understands and does it.
Yeah, it's wild. It's almost like the AI is becoming more of a partner than just a tool, which actually brings up a really interesting question. What does all of this mean for the future of art? Like, what kind of impact will Stable Diffusion and other AI art generators have on how we create and consume art?
That's the million-dollar question right now. There are some people who see AI art as a threat, like it's going to replace human artists. Yeah.
And then there are others who see it as this incredible opportunity, a way to make art more accessible to everyone.
Right. I think it's important to remember that AI is just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Exactly.
It's up to us humans to decide how we want to use it.
I completely agree. We need to be having these conversations about the ethical implications of AI art, and we need to be responsible with how we use it. But we also need to embrace the potential it has to unlock new forms of creativity. For sure. One thing I'm really excited about is seeing how artists push the boundaries of what's possible with Stable Diffusion. We're already seeing some incredible examples of AI-generated artwork. Everything from photorealistic portraits to surreal landscapes to abstract pieces that really challenge our idea of what art can be.
It's pretty inspiring to see all the creativity coming out of this new technology.
Absolutely. One of the things that fascinates me the most is Stable Diffusion's ability to mimic different artistic styles. Like, you can literally tell it to create an image in the style of Van Gogh or Picasso, or even a contemporary artist like Banksy.
It's pretty amazing. And it's not just about copying existing styles. Artists are using Stable Diffusion to create entirely new hybrid styles, blending elements from different periods and movements.
It's like this crazy fusion of art and technology, and it's producing some really unique and unexpected results.
It is.
It makes you wonder if AI could actually help us discover new artistic movements, like styles that we wouldn't have even imagined before.
I think that's definitely a possibility. When you give people access to these powerful tools, you never know what they'll come up with. It's like giving a painter a new set of brushes and colors. They're going to experiment, they're going to explore, and they're going to create things we've never seen before.
That's what's so exciting about this whole field. It's constantly evolving. There's always something new to discover. But it's not just about the final product. It's about the creative process itself. How is using AI as a tool changing the way artists think and work?
That's a great question. I think for some artists, AI is like a collaborator, a way to augment their own creativity and explore new ideas.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like an artist might use Stable Diffusion to generate a bunch of images based on a theme, and then use those images as inspiration for their own work.
Right. It's like having a brainstorming partner that can come up with endless ideas.
Exactly. And for other artists, AI is a way to challenge their own assumptions about what art is and how it's created.
Interesting.
It forces them to rethink their creative process and embrace new ways of working.
It's definitely a time of experimentation and exploration, and it's leading to some really interesting conversations about the nature of art itself. Like, what does it mean to be an artist in the age of AI? Is AI-generated art real art?
Those are some big questions, and I don't think there are any easy answers. I think the answers will probably keep evolving as AI technology gets more
For
advanced.
sure. But one thing is for sure, it's a fascinating time to be witnessing all of this unfold. And for anyone who is curious about AI art, Stable Diffusion 3.5 is a great place to start.
I definitely agree. It's a really powerful and accessible tool. It can help anyone unlock their own creative potential.
And it's just fun to use. I've lost track of how many hours I've spent playing around with different prompts and seeing what I can create.
Me too.
It's like having a magic box that can bring your imagination to life.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is like a magic box. And I think what's even more amazing is that this technology is now available to pretty much everyone.
Yeah. And that's something we haven't really talked about yet, the accessibility of it all. In the past, creating art often required you to have specialized skills, expensive tools, years of training. But with AI art generators like Stable Diffusion, those barriers are kind of disappearing.
Exactly. Anyone with a computer and an internet connection can now create these really cool visuals.
Right?
It's like the printing press of the art world. It's making creativity accessible to everyone.
I love that analogy. And just like the printing press changed the way we communicate and share information, I
Yeah.
think AI art has the potential to do the same thing for how we create and consume art.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical side of Stable Diffusion 3.5 to the bigger implications for the art world and society as a whole.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has.
What are some of the things that stood out to you the most?
I think for me, it's the sense of wonder and possibility. AI art is still so new, and we're really just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible. It's like standing at the edge of this vast, uncharted territory, and we have no idea what we're going to find.
Yeah, there's definitely a feeling of excitement and anticipation around this whole field.
Totally. So for our listeners who are feeling inspired and ready to jump into the world of AI art, what advice would you give them? Where should they start?
I would say, first and foremost, don't be afraid to experiment. Play around with different prompts, styles, settings, you know. See what happens when you push the boundaries.
I love that. It's all about exploration and discovery.
Exactly. And second, I would say connect with other artists and creators who are also exploring AI art. There's a really amazing online community of people sharing their work, tips, tutorials.
Yeah, that's so important. Art has always been a collaborative thing. And I think that's even more true in the world of AI art.
I agree,
Sharing ideas and inspiration can help everyone push the boundaries of what's possible.
for sure. And one last thing, remember to have fun. Don't get too caught up in the technical stuff or the pressure to create something perfect. Just relax, experiment, and enjoy the process.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. So to all of you listening out there, we encourage you to unleash your creativity and dive into the world of AI art. Who knows, you might just create the next masterpiece. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.